Hi everyone, and welcome back to Dimensional Wellness. My name is DeeDee, and I'm so glad to be here with you today, exchanging some energy. Make sure that you go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share. Heavy on the commenting, heavy on the subscribing, because I want to get to 1,000 subscribers. We can go live and do dream interpretations, talk about dreams, talk about the craziness that is reality and all of those fun things. We can have free-flowing conversations and stuff like that. I'm really excited about that. So make sure that you do all the things that we like to do here on YouTube. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about this dream that I had. When did I have this dream? This dream was probably in 2019, I would say. Which is really interesting when I think about the timeline of it. When I think about the timeline of it. Okay, so during this time period, there's a very interesting synastry, let's say, that was going on between one of my friends that I have now and then someone that I used to know. And there was a synastry happening where both of these friends will call one Lyndon and then we'll call the other one Chalky. I don't know, I'm just gonna call her Chalky. So Lyndon and Chalky, these are two friends. Well, one is a friend and one is somebody I used to know, so we're not friends anymore. We probably were barely friends when we were friends, but that's not the point. So anyways, Lyndon and Chalky. Okay, so Lyndon is the friend that I still have. Okay, so I think I might have met them relatively close to each other too, actually, now that I think about it. But anyways, both of them are having online experiences with a person that had a name very similar to Fahad. Okay, Fahad. And they were both being told that they were very, very powerful feminine energies. One was connected to Tiamat. One was connected to Bridget, or Bridge. And these Fahads, for both of them, were trying to... this is so interesting. Like, the Fahad character was trying to kind of... not necessarily convince them to come to like a dark side with their powers, but they obviously had like kind of weird, strange energy, and it seemed like on the darker side of things, I guess. I mean, one of them, which is connected to this story we're going to talk about today, this dream we're going to talk about today. Okay, sir, this guy got really close to my car, and he just made a circle around the car. That was very strange. Wait, is he making another circle around the car? I'm about to pull off. I'm not playing. That is the strangest shit that I have seen. Wait. Okay. Oh my gosh, I just cursed. I'm so sorry. No, because I'm literally talking about this weird Fahad energy and like how I'm going to talk about that today. And then this guy who looks like he's of... Middle Eastern or Indian descent literally just circled my car twice in a parking lot. And like his wife is getting out to go walk somewhere, but I'm sitting in like an abandoned parking lot. So I'm like, do I need to go? Because, certain things you start talking about in reality just start doing like really strange stuff. Like, oh, she's actually about to go like walk across the road over to somewhere when he could have just parked over. That don't make no sense, child. Okay, so I don't know if I should go to the house before I start talking about this, or I mean, he literally circled around the car twice, like legitimately, like in a weird way. You just had to be here to see it, but I don't know if I should like stay here and talk or if that means that I should go. But then if I go in front of the house, then the kids are going to come outside. I might not get to finish it. I don't know. Okay, we'll just talk about it. I mean, I do have to go. Okay, I'm gonna pause it and then I'm gonna come back. Okay, so I did pause it and then it's the next day. It's the next day. And you know what? I always like to just go with those kind of intuitions, because even though I had intentions of doing it yesterday, finishing it yesterday. So today is the 6th and I was doing that yesterday on the 5th. There's 2 things that ended up coming up to where I was like, oh, I'm glad that I saw that, because that adds like, you know, credence, I guess, to that I should be talking about this right now. Okay, so the 2 things that happened, I'm gonna just say this really quickly. So the 2 things that happened. So there is this guy that I listen to on YouTube, and he posted a video today talking about the concept of chalk and how it's connected to ghost. And I almost fell out of my chair, because that woman who I used to be friends with, I'll just say acquaintance, because when I look back at the friendship, we were just getting to know each other. And then unfortunately it just didn't work out. And she is like a ghost to me. Like, I'm thinking about her now because she, you know, like that time period, there was an experience. And so when he was like, you know, chalk is associated to ghost and associated to ectoplasm, which I have been researching, ectoplasm and physical mediumship. I have a son, and I believe that he is connected to Allan Kardec. And so anyways, I'm not going to go into explain all of that, but it was just interesting because she is like a ghost to me. And I literally, when I was saying, I was like thinking in my head, I'm like, why am I calling her chalk? Like, or chalky or whatever I said. But anyways, that's just like more things. And then my mom and I were talking on Instagram, and I actually missed this post, which I don't know how I missed it, because, well, today is Monday, and I guess, yesterday was Sunday, and I missed a post that she sent me by this guy. I kid you not, I missed it, and she actually sent it at like 2:19, which is a very specific time that has a connection. And this guy's name, I kid you not, his name was Fahad. I kid you not, okay? But these things like this happen pretty much frequently for me now. But it still blows my mind, though. Like, even though it happens like that, you know, like, I can say, okay, I want to see my birthday on the back of a license plate, right? You know, most people don't have like 4 numbers on their license plate to say like 1226, right? But I'll see like 126, or I'll see like 92 or something like that, you know? So, I mean, even though it happens all the time, it still blows my mind, because I didn't even see that yesterday when she sent it. And so it just, you know, it kind of is like this synastry of events that are going on both consciously and subconsciously that create this energy. And actually why I even thought about doing this is today, because it was just 8:31, and for whatever reason with the Mortimer podcast that I did, 8:31 kept coming up, and yesterday I saw 8:31 twice on license plates, and then I saw it today and I was like, oh yeah, I didn't finish my podcast on the Fahad going into the BioBots. So let me get back into that. Okay. So with one of the women, which was the ghost one, Chalky, he definitely was, I think they were kind of, similar, actually, yeah, because one was telling me he was like a prince of hell, and he was talking about the 4 corners of hell or something like that. Then even my friend Lyndon, there was the guy that she was talking to, who was also talking about the princes of hell and, you know, marquis of hell and stuff like that. And I hadn't heard of any of that yet. I mean, now I have, because I've looked into like the Goetia, which are the 72, I think it's the lesser keys of Solomon, and the higher keys are like the 72 angels. And so the 72 demons, there's like, different rankings, like military rankings of demonic spirits, which most of them are gods that got demonized. But if you go into the Greek and you realize what a daemon is, it is a higher consciousness spirit. And so the connotation of demonic and evil came from the Christian construct to a certain degree. I'm not going to place it all on the Christians, on the Christians and Muslims and stuff like that. But definitely, that's a whole nother contract. I don't even want to get too deep into that. But anyways, he was definitely, but this guy was talking about it from like, a perspective of like, I'm going to raise up in the ranks of demonic energy and become like the biggest, baddest demon on the planet. And I was like, okay, he plays way too many video games. He plays way too many video games. But then he sent me his email, and this is the first time that I saw sun devils. Okay, this is the first time that I saw sun devils. And I was like, oh my gosh, why is he, hold on, I have to sneeze because this is the truth, y'all. Okay. I was like, and I saw like his name was like Fahad or whatever, something like that at sundevils.edu. And I was like, oh, he's a college student. And even the guy who, I think he was saying he was either like the reincarnation of Akhenaten, or he was from Akhenaten's bloodline. So he wanted to take over the world or something. And he was also like a younger man too. And so I was like, okay, there's like a learning curve to these things, because I can guarantee you that on the darker side of reality, you do not get extra dark, bat treats for being like the biggest pain in the butt on earth. Like I guarantee you're not going to get like high five for doing as much diabolical stuff as you can. But that's like a whole nother conversation too for another day. So anyways, these Fahads, it was very interesting because they were both reflections of each other. And so both of them connecting to these two very powerful, ancient goddesses and stuff. And then there's a literal person in their lives, both reflections. These women don't know each other. And there is an energy that is something like Fahad. So one of them, I think his name actually was Fahad, and the other one was something similar to that. And they're playing this role of trying to kind of entice them into the darker aspects of life in order to like activate this goddess energy or whatever. And so I am, in this position of counseling them away from that. And not that they were going to do that anyway, you know what I'm saying? But just like as a reassurance, as a supportive role to be like, yeah, like that person's being weird and don't like talk to them anymore. And so I thought that was very interesting. And so, like I said, one of the people I actually started talking to him through emails. And that's the one who was talking about the 4 princes of hell and how he was going through the hell initiations and blah, 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 blah. And I was trying to talk some sense into him to be like, first of all, you got way too much college work to do right now to even be trying to think about any kind of serious initiation to anything. But on top of that, if you have spirits that are like, egging you on to be like the Dark Lord, you might really want to consider asking some serious questions, because that's not really how it goes. And you have to be very careful with spirits. It's almost like people believe that spirits are always truthful and they always have your best interest at heart, but spirits can be just as tricky as people. And so there are trickster energies, just like we have people that, lie and tell kids, freshman kids, there's like a pool on the 6th floor, and if you find it, there's some type of treasure or whatever, and then the kids like are trying to find the secret elevator, even though when they step outside they only see that the school is 2 floors. Do you know what I'm saying? It's obviously it's a lie, and they're just just picking on you because you're like the young kid. I'm like, it's the same thing in spirit. Like, there are certain spirits that tell you certain things and get you to do certain things. And it's more like a trickster spirit that's like playing with you because you are new and fresh in the spirit and you can be told a lot of things. And sometimes it's for very malicious intent. So I'm not going to like negate that there are what we would consider to be evil, demonic spirits in that sense of the word. That definitely exists. But for most people, I wouldn't say 9 times out of 10. Because it depends on who your family is, really. But let's say like 7 times out of 10, it's probably just like a spirit around that's like playing, like every single spirit that comes up to you. It's like, I'm Lucifer, the king, and you should wear a goat mask to invoke me. It could be like some kid that passed away like in the neighborhood and they just haven't crossed over. Do you know what I'm saying? There's like a lot of different possibilities of what it could be. Like, every single being that comes to you that's like, I'm Archangel Michael, is not Archangel Michael. It's just not. But you have to be, like actively in the spirit world to be able to discern it. And even I've been, in the spirit side for like, 10, 11 years now, and it's still difficult to discern spirits and stuff like that. So not that it's like super easy to do, but anyways, just my point of like this Fahad energy and how it was coming in at that point in time. Now, I had not heard the name Fahad or anything like that. And now we're going to start getting into the BioBot story. Okay, so I'm going to start with what the Fahad connection is, and then I'm going to go into the Baha. I was like, we're about to drink Baja Blast right now. Then I'm going to go into the BioBot story. I'm going to segue into it. Okay, so around this time, probably about 2 or 3 months later, I ended up having this dream of being, and I'm still like congested and stuff like that. Arizona, it's like starting to get cold, but then it also doesn't know if it wants to be cold. So we're going from, like 57 degrees in the morning to like 92 degrees at night. And so it's definitely playing with our sinuses and stuff like that. So excuse me if I sound really congested. That is because I am really, really congested. Anyways, it's 911. Interesting. Okay. So, I ended up having this dream where I was like in the void space, and there was a humongous white snake with yellow spots on it, and it was a she, and she passed through me. That's the only way I can describe it. She passed through me. And when she passed through me, I remembered her, and I remembered that I was a part of her. Now, a part of her in what way, I couldn't exactly tell, but I knew that we were family in some type of way, that this was an ancestral spirit. I also knew that she was an Asiatic spirit. And so I remember her calling me something Tutu. And it was like a pet name, almost like Little Tutu, something like that. Tutu, Little Tutu, something like that. And I had, like I said, a remembrance of her. So not complete memories, but a remembrance. And so when I woke up, I went to go look it up, and where I ended up landing, which was very interesting. So snakes and dragons are connected to each other. Even I've seen that water dragons are also connected to crocodiles. Some of the things that end up in the astrals and end up in like the dream or imagination space are symbolic of things in physicality. So I have seen actual dragons before. Okay, so I'm not saying that dragons don't exist, but I'm saying in the consciousness, when people are writing about these experiences and what they've seen, especially depending on in what reality they've seen it, sometimes it could be a dragon, sometimes it could be someone that was looking at a crocodile from above in water, and that would appear as a water dragon because you can't see like the feet and stuff, right? And then sometimes someone could be describing a dragon, but it's actually talking about maybe like a more evolved form of the snake. Okay. And so anyways, it ended up leading me to this story, this Chinese story about, let me see if I can get the name of this. Ooh, I'm actually on airplane mode doing this right now, and I know when I turn it on, there's going to be so many notifications from Ray's Instagram. But hopefully you won't be able to hear them, but I know he's got a lot of notifications right now on Instagram. Okay. There is a story about the dragon goddess who became human. What is her name? Not Nuwa, but that, I mean, it could have been Nuwa. I don't know. It could be connected because I did have a dream about Nuwa. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I put in okay, yes. So this is the story of the legend of the white snake, also known as Madam White Snake, in which Fahai, which is connected to Fahad, Fahai is the main character, okay? And when I saw this, I almost passed out. So pretty much this story of the white snake in Chinese mythology talks about, roughly speaking, it talks about a goddess who I think was sentenced to become, let me see if I can really remember the story. I'm gonna have to like post the TED Talk because they did a TED Talk on it. And I can't exactly remember the beginning of it, but don't hold me to the story, but I think this is how it goes, that she came into reality as a little garden snake. Okay. And there were, I think, maybe some kids or something that were like trying to kill her or something like that, messing with her, and this little boy saved her from being killed by these kids or tortured by these kids or whatever. And so she decided to come back in his next lifetime and come and be his wife and give him a gift for saving her in the prior lifetime. Something like this. And so she comes in and reincarnates in the next life with him to be his wife. And she tells him that she's going to be his wife if he makes a promise that he won't watch her while she bathes, okay, while she takes a bath. So he can never come in the bathroom when she's taking a bath. And so Fahai is supposed to be like a local monk or something in the area, a local, like, you know, equivalent of a priest. And he's also has like an apothecary or something. And I think maybe in the story, this guy is working at his apothecary or something, child. I might be butchering this story horribly, but anyways, he's a well-versed spiritual man, and he realizes that this guy's wife is not just a regular woman, and he has prejudice against the dragons. He believes that they are evil, okay? And that is because he has a past life with this dragon goddess. Okay, and so it says that in one life she was a dragon or a snake, and that he was like a turtle or something, and they were constantly at each other's heels. So they also have a past life that Fahai, the monk, does not remember, but she remembers. And so Fahai can't place why he doesn't like her, but he has suspicions about her. So anyways, he puts together some type of herbal remedy or something like that that exposes that she is a dragon to him. Okay, so then something happens, or there's some type of party or something like that, and so he puts this herbal remedy in her drink, which forces her to start shape-shifting, so she has to run home. So he runs after her to make sure she's okay, and she locks herself in the bathroom, and he gets into the bathroom. Oh, excuse me. And that's when he finds out that she is not a regular human. She is a shape-shifting dragon goddess. And so because he broke his promise and she is embarrassed, she runs away or something like that. But I think she was already pregnant with a baby. And then the monk comes, and since she's weakened by the herbs, he's able to capture her and lock her in some kind of underworld place or something. And her husband, even though he was surprised at her being this dragon goddess, he still loves her, but he doesn't have enough spiritual strength or something like that, so he can't save her. And so her salvation comes through her child. So she was pregnant when she got locked up in this place in the underworld or underground, or I can't remember exactly what it was. And the monk did not know that she was pregnant. But someone comes to her, I think, and lets her know that she is actually carrying, that the gods have seen her plight, and that in her belly she is actually carrying the reincarnation of the god of wisdom. And so this god of wisdom is supposed to be, of course, a god of great knowledge and things like that. And so anyways, she gives birth to the boy, and he is not trapped with her. And so he grows up and he comes into his realization that he's the god of wisdom. And then he pretty much does something, outthinks something to free his mother from her entrapment. Okay. Now, this is a very, very interesting and similar story to a lot of stories that have to do, especially in European folklore, with women who are considered to be sirens. Okay, so in this form, I'm not talking about, mermaids, but I'm talking about the mermaids where they didn't have a single tail. They had two tails that acted like legs, and I believe that they called those sirens. I'm not talking about the singing women that crashed ships like in the Odyssey. I'm talking about the women of the wells. Let me double check what I'm talking about, because the crazier thing, hold on, I'm gonna wait for this, okay? Hold on, because this is so funny. When I found this, I almost fainted. Okay. Okay. I almost fainted when I said this. Okay, so all of this stuff I was learning about at the same time, because it was something that they were saying in the dragon mythology with this Fahai and stuff that had me go look up mermaids and sacred wells, because I kept getting, around this time, a connection to wells. Now I also have family from Wales as well, because Wales and wells sounds kind of similar to each other. But I kept having these visions of wells. Like I have a Akashic record session that I'm going to talk about, where I was looking into the Kaaba, and the top of the Kaaba opened like like a present box, like a jewelry box, like a singing box. And when I looked down into it, it was a well. And there was a guy at the bottom of the well. And then I had another recent experience where I was looking at this well. And so well springs kept coming up. And so I forgot exactly what it was, but I started looking into it. And that led me to Maluzin. Or I might have actually heard the name Maluzin or dreamed about it. I don't actually remember exactly how that happened. But anyways, okay. So it says, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this part I wanted to talk about. Okay, it says, the intriguing story tells of the beautiful Maluzin, the result of the marriage of the King of Scotland and his fairy wife. In her youth, Maluzin entombed her father in a mountain, leaving her mother heartbroken. The deed displeased her mother, and as punishment, Maluzin was condemned to transform into a serpent from the waist down every Saturday. Now, it's the same kind of thing, you know, like dragon tails, mermaid tails. Sometimes it's one long tail. Sometimes it's two different tails, look kind of like feet. I mean, they don't look like actual feet, but function like legs. Then it says, archetypally for the late medieval narrative while out hunting in the forest, typical sites for magical encounters and fairy stories. In the forest of the Ardennes, Raymond, Lord of Forres in Poitou, a poor but noble gentleman meets Maluzin. She was sitting beside a fountain in glimmering white dresses with long, waving golden hair and faces of inexpressible beauty. And you know, my husband's name is Raymond. So I thought that was a very interesting, oh, look, 147. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, the Maluzin story and everything like that, that goes into something else. That goes into a whole bunch of other stuff. But anyways, that was the Fahai connection. Now, why I'm bringing up the Fahai connection is because my friend Lyndon and I started dreaming very specific dreams during this time about crimson and gold. And the first time we saw the connections, my friend Lyndon... she actually dreamed about us going to like a dojo, and it was a crimson and gold everything. She was like, everything. It had tassels, everything was crimson and gold in this kind of dojo setup. And that when we went there, we were actually snake charmers. And we, you know, and I think that's like I can't exactly remember now, but it's like it used to be like a, child, let me just look it up, because I forgot exactly. Yeah, it says snake charming is a practice of appearing to hypnotize a snake, often a cobra, by playing and waving around an instrument called a punji. A typical performance may also include handling the snakes or performing other seemingly dangerous acts, as well as the street performance staples like juggling and sleight of hand. Very interesting. So that's what we were doing. We were snake charmers, right? Which goes into, of course, the snake goddess, you know, some of the primordial goddesses around the world who are associated with snakes, which would be connected to the great serpents. And so these women were, of course, not the serpents. Even though in Egypt they were. I was actually listening to a channel, and you know, he was talking about how the gods were depicted as frogs, and the goddesses were depicted as serpents or the heavens, which to me, it would actually make sense if it was more of the opposite, where the gods would be the serpents and you would call on the snake charmers to get to the snake. And of course, frogs are associated to fertility and birthing positions. So, but anyways, Phoenix, stop. Now, he wasn't even in here fussing until I started recording this. Like, okay. So anyways, like he was not even in here fussing until I started recording this. I find that very irritating when you're trying to like do serious, like super spiritual stuff, and then it's like things start happening. So let me see if I can get the child to calm down. Okay, come on here. Do you want to watch Mickey Mouse? Yes. Okay. So anyways, I'm having to do this in like 3 days. Okay. So anyways, we were snake charmers. And so with this, that was her dream, okay? So that was my friend Lyndon's dream. And then, so I ended up having this dream. This is where we get into the BioBot dream. So this was before, this is actually wild because this is before I even decided to come to Arizona. Like I saw the Fahad guy, I was talking to him on his education email. And it was at Sun Devils. So I briefly looked up Sun Devils. And of course, when you look up Sun Devils, you see that it is a crimson and gold little devil with a trident. But, if you look up Sun Devils in Arizona, it's like a weather phenomenon, right? But it is crimson and gold. So that was the first kind of introduction into crimson and gold. Then my friend ended up having the Crimson and Gold Dojo dream. So that was like the second introduction into the Crimson and Gold. Then that's when I had this Crimson and Gold dream. Okay. So I did see the Sun Devils, and I looked up the Sun Devils, a part of ASU, because I didn't know, like, I was like, why does he have at sundevils.edu, right? Because usually when you have a school education email, it's like, at uno.edu. That's where I went to school, at University of New Orleans, uno.edu. So I was like, what's sundevils.edu? I'm like, what school is that? So I did look it up, and I did see ASU. And so I wasn't focused on ASU because I was really focused on why would they call this a Sun Devil. And so let me just open this, because if I don't open it, it's going to start beeping forever. It's going to beep again. Okay. I'm coming into my office. Okay. So anyways, I wasn't focused on, look, and there's a big, huge wasp outside right now. Wow. Oh, no, this is a moth. Okay, let me focus, child. Let me focus. So I wasn't focused on ASU. I was focused on why they were called the Sun Devils, right? So that was my introduction into Arizona. Okay. So in this dream, I am sitting on a bench, okay? And I'm obviously on a campus. And I'm just sitting in front of the university center. So I don't know what they call their university center, but at UNO, we called it the UC, the University Center, which is like the main central point on campus that kids can come and get food and, a map. If you need help figuring out where things are on campus and stuff like that, you go to the University Center. So I was sitting on a bench outside of their University Center. Now, I still have not gone over to ASU to actually see if this is how it's set up, because I think that would freak me out too much right now, but I am going to do that. So, this is so wild. Okay, so I'm sitting in the dream on this bench from the University Center, and classes are going on. It's like the middle of the day. Okay. And then all of a sudden, Because I'm worrying myself. I'm like, why am I here? Because I didn't even know what campus I was on. I had no clue where I was, but I knew it wasn't UNO because it was entirely too hot and there were barely any trees. So I knew it wasn't UNO. So I'm like, what campus am I on? So I was actually trying to look around, but I couldn't quite get any like defining markers. So I was in front of the UC and I could see that it said something on the building, but I didn't see any defining things. Like I saw like a blue sign that said it was the university center or something like that. And I just saw kids walking, but nobody had on like a school sweatshirt or anything. So I couldn't define the school. I didn't know where I was. And so I'm sitting on the bench, and the next thing I know, there's a family member who comes to sit next to me. There's a family member that comes to sit next to me, okay? And this family member starts talking to me that they're trying to leave someone. They're trying to leave someone, and they don't know how to do that. And so she was sitting next to me, and she was telling me about what's going on, and she was like whispering. So I'm listening to her whispering, and then the person she said she was trying to leave like comes and sits right next to us on the bench. And so by this point I'm like, why are you whispering? Like, either just stop talking about it or you're gonna have to make a decision. Like, it's time to go. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that person came to sit like right next to her, next to us on the bench. So I'm like, okay, I'm not sure what, like, what are you trying to do? I don't know. Like, I don't know. For some reason, I'm like, are you trying to get us in trouble? Like, I don't know. But then I was like, okay, if she's coming to me for help, then she must really be in trouble. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to just not say anything yet, and then I'll wait to say something later when we have some time to ourselves and we can really talk and communicate, right? So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So as she's talking to me, I start to see this wanted poster pop up. So this was like an apparition, okay? So it wasn't like a dent in that reality wanted poster. It was almost like I was scanning with my eyes some type of wanted posters. Like, actually, they just started flashing in front of me. So I knew that someone was sending me something to pay attention to. That I was sitting on the bench and talking to this family member about what was going on in her relationship. But that I was also on this campus for another reason, to see something. And so I was like, okay. So I'm starting seeing all of these wanted posters, and like they're flashing. And then it changes from wanted posters to missing people posters. And I started to notice that the people that were wanted were also people that had been missing. And so they wanted me to find the connection between the people that were wanted and how they went from missing to wanted. So they went from missing to being people that were now doing crimes and stuff. And stuff. So I'm like, what? So the next thing I know, there's this guy who is visibly, I knew looking at him that he used to be a drug addict and homeless, okay? Oh my gosh, it's so weird because it's like every time I start talking about this stuff, I start getting so many sinus issues. It's so irritating because it's almost like I feel like I can't really like communicate and talk. Okay. And I mean, we do have things going on because it's like getting into wintertime, but still, it's really, really irritating because I'm like, stop it. But anyway, so I see this guy and he is visibly, something is wrong with him. Like, if you're really paying attention to him, he is moving and walking in this strange, kind of slumped over, looking really strange, possessed kind of way. That's the best I can say it, a possessed type of way. And I know, like I said, from looking at him, that he was an avid drug user at some time. and that he was homeless. And I recognized him from the wanted posters that I had just seen. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so he was coming up directly towards us. And so I'm like in flight freeze mode. I'm freezing because I'm like, what in the world is wrong with him? So as I'm really looking at him, like, let me focus on him. What is wrong with him? I realized that something has taken over his body. And this is more than just possession. This is like, I knew that someone, and this is so crazy, but I know this is what happened to him. I don't know how I know, but I was looking at him and I knew that this is what happened to him. That somebody had kidnapped him off the streets. I know, child, follow me, okay? Somebody had kidnapped him off the streets and they had put him into some type of program where they turned him into some type of BioBot. I don't know. Some type of BioBot. And his original spirit was trying to fight this like AI tech. It was trying to fight it. But he looked like Terminator, but not just Terminator, because both of his eyes weren't red like a cyborg. Both of them weren't. It was only one, and there's like some kind of superhero I'm thinking about, or villain. Could be a villain. It's probably a villain. There's some type of villain with one eye. Hold on, let me see. Villain with one red eye. Yes, let's see if we can find him. Yeah, this one. Hold on, I'm going through because I'm like, I feel like this must be a super villain. Hold on, let me find him. Like, must be, yeah. Oh, his name is actually Cyborg. There we go. Cyborg is a fictional superhero appearing in comic books published by DC Comics. Look, George is coming up again. The character was created by writer Marv Wolfman and artist George Perez. And I'm saying George because, oh, look, this is 12/26. Lord have mercy. Oh, yeah, with Teen Titan. Yes, with Teen Titan. Yes, exactly. Cyborg with Teen Titan. That's exactly what it looked like. So both of his eyes were not red. One of them was red. He didn't have all the metal on him, but he might as well have. And I'm talking about George because I had this dream sort of kind of experience the other day about Pennywise, the It clown. And that's one of his victims was the little boy George, who was so empathetic that Pennywise used his empathy to kill him, which was, I haven't even seen it, but I just read it and I was like, that's just too dark for me to go into that. But anyways, DC Comic presents number 26. Cyborg is best known as a member of the Teen Titans. Yeah, so he looked like that. So anyways, I guess that's representing that he wasn't full robot. But I knew that they had some type of way installed this into his body or something like that. I don't know in what type of way. I don't know. But I knew that he was trying to free himself from the control of the AI function. So I knew that whoever turned him into a cyborg or Terminator or whatever, was controlling him to do the wanted things, whatever he was wanted for. So I knew there was some type of program that they had where they were taking homeless people and drug addicted people who don't have a good handle on their minds anyway. And it's very easy to install something in there. But there are some people who, even though they are in the depths of these drugs and stuff like that, they still have a strong spirit. Even though their spirit is not, let's say, like, deeply, integrated in their body, their spirit that inhibits the body is still a strong one. And so he was trying to fight the system. So he was coming over, child, this was crazy. So he was coming over there towards us specifically. I was like, oh my gosh, why is he coming over here? And so I realized that he was walking strangely because the part of him that was like fighting to get his body back was trying to walk towards me. And the part that was the cyborg part was trying to walk towards this family member's partner. Okay, so not her, but her partner. Okay, and so I was like, what in the world? And so that's why he was walking funny, because this AI part of him, which was being remotely controlled by someone, wanted him to walk over towards the partner. Okay, we'll call him Billy Joel. I don't know. Is that a person? Is Billy Joel a person? Why do I want to call him Billy Joel? Hold on, wait. Who is Billy Joel? American singer, songwriter, and pianist. May 9th, New York, New York. Piano band after his signature 1973 song of the same name, Joel. We didn't start the fire. Let me see the lyrics of this song. We didn't start. Harry Truman, Doris Day of The Truman Show. South Korea, Marilyn Monroe. The King and I, The Catcher in the Rye. Eisenhower vaccine, England's got a new queen. We didn't start the fire, it was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. No, we didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. I might go listen to that song. I might go listen to that song and see what it's talking about. Okay. I don't know if I've heard of Billy Joel before, but his name popped up in my mind. Is he still alive? Let me see. Is he still alive? Yeah, he's still alive. Oh, that's so weird, because in this picture, like, he kind of sort of looks like Sylvester Stallone. Like, on the slickest of slick, he kind of looks like Sylvester Stallone. Stallone? Sylvester Stallone? Or Stallone? Okay. That's interesting. I don't know why he popped in my mind, but I don't know how conscious I am of Billy Joel. Oliver and Company. We were just watching Oliver and Company. What does he have to do with Oliver and okay, I'm gonna go do that on my own time, okay? But anyways, I don't know. Maybe that is some type of connection. Billy Joel plays the Artful Dodger. I don't know who the Artful Dodger is in that movie. Okay, so anyways, so I realized that's what was going on. So he was trying to go towards Billy Joel. So whoever was operating this system was trying to get in touch with Billy Joel. Okay. And the human side, that was actually the original spirit in here, was trying to get to me. Okay. And so I was just floored, because I was like, what in the world is this talking about? Like, who did this to him? And how many people have they done this to? And so anyways, he gets over there, and the cyborg part wins over. Terminator wins over. So he does not come stand in front of me. He comes and stands in front of Billy Joel, okay? So Billy Joel stands up when the cyborg gets in front of him. And Billy Joel doesn't say a word. They are just in a stare off. And I understood that to mean that if you say anything about anything, I want you to know that we've got eyes on you and we will take you out. So at that point, I was like, oh, Billy Joel is a part of some type of governmental stuff. Like, he's got to be. Like, why would this cyborg Frankenstein homeless man be coming to do a stare off with you if you are not a part of this program, and they don't want you to say anything about it. So I'm like, what is life right now? Because what? And he said nothing, and the cyborg said nothing. And I almost feel bad saying that because the guy was still in there, but the cyborg was definitely winning over. The program was definitely winning over. So he didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. Me and my family member were looking at each other. I'm like, is this a normal occurrence? Like, have you seen this before? You know, we're not saying anything, but I'm just, we're looking at each other like that. I'm like, girl, what is this? What is this? And so then after that, I guess the cyborg fulfilled its mission. So then the guy was able to briefly get over to me. And I just whispered something to him like, I'm going to figure it out. And then he disappeared. Child, I don't even know where he went. He disappeared. Okay? Do you know what I'm saying? Vamoosh. He was gone. And I was like, what in the world is going on here? Like, what is going on here? And so after, I guess the shock factor was gone, so I was finally able to talk. And so I looked at her partner, and I'm like, what was that? He literally was like, what was what? I kid you not. Now, I told you they didn't say anything, so I'm just intuitively picking up on stuff. He was like, what was what? And I was like, that homeless guy with the BioBot in his body staring you down? And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, what? I'm looking at her, I'm like, and she don't say anything. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, no, the guy that was standing right there. What are you involved in? What are you involved in? And he was like, never heard of it. Don't know what you're talking about. Like, what? And so then I started looking around. I'm like, am I crazy? Like, am I taking crazy pills? And I'm like, no, it's not me. I'm not taking crazy pills because I just saw this stuff. And I guess he wasn't about to break that oath because I was like, wow. And so then that's when I woke up. Now, when I woke up, I had remembered that I had briefly seen something with the Sun Devils logo on it. Now, by this time, like I said, I was not very focused on ASU when I originally heard about Sun Devils, so I couldn't remember what school it was. But I had remembered that I saw the Sun Devils logo, and I remembered looking at the community center, and there was the crimson and gold on like the roof or something of the building. Somewhere on the roof there was like crimson and gold on there. And so I was like, what school was that? And that's when I realized that it was ASU. Now, still, I was more focused on the BioBot situation than ASU, right? Because I mean, of course I heard of Arizona, but Arizona was like just not in my radar. So I wasn't really that focused on ASU or where it was or anything like that. I was more focused on like, what is this family member into? And what do you mean they're taking homeless people and drug addicted people off of the street and turning them into cyborgs? What do you mean? Right? So that was like at the, I don't remember exactly when this was. I think that it was at the end of 2020. And then next thing you know, April 2021, and I hadn't even put 2 and 2 together. I promise you, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together about this dream. Because, of course, we got the dream to move to Arizona. And I was like, Arizona? I don't even know anything about Arizona. I don't even know if I've heard of anything about Arizona. Totally not putting these two together. Then I promise you, like, so May 31st, the day that we moved out of our last rental place in New Orleans, there was a guy that I met on my way to Whole Foods to get some food to cook, because we're going to cook some food to bring it to the hotel. The next day, because we were just staying in hotels, we didn't have another place lined up. I got into this guy's car, this Uber, and he was like, I don't just pick up anybody, so you must be important. And I laughed when he said that. And he was like, I'm serious. He was like, I don't just pick up anybody, so you must be somebody special. And I was like, I might be. Maybe I am. And he was like, I have a message for you. And there were a lot of different things. And I'm going to talk about that more on like how I manifested the move to Phoenix, how we manifested the move to Phoenix. But right now, the part of the conversation I want to focus on is that he was like, I have a message for you from God. And I was like, okay, cool. Because I do this to people all the time. And I was like, oh, it's my turn. Fun. And so he was like, God is telling me that for 30 days, you need to be quiet. And I was like, excuse me? Excuse me? So by this time, I had the dream about Phoenix already. But like I said, like Ray and I were moving from a really big busking city, New Orleans, to, at that time, we were still contemplating Colorado, even though I had the dream about Phoenix, because neither one of us knew anything about Phoenix. And we really didn't know anything about Colorado either, but we had a cousin at the time who was living in Colorado, so at least we had family out there. But then it was funny, because then eventually that cousin, he was actually telling us that he was planning to move out to Mesa, so it's funny because we all ended up in Arizona together. But we were pretty sold on Colorado. But like I said, I had that dream, and the dream was clear that we were going to Phoenix. And I'm going to talk about that in the manifestation video. But anyways, so he was like, God is going to move you in 30 days. And he was like, but you're powerful enough to stop the movement from happening. So over the next 30 days, he wants you to be quiet and don't say anything. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. And I was like, well, that's true. I could definitely talk myself out or into something. And so I kid you not, somebody called Ray that next day. And I was so tempted to be like, don't listen to that. And I was like, oop, I'm supposed to be being quiet. So I think really for those 30 days, it was only like one thing that I disagreed with. Everything else, I was just like, all right, we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. And I kid you not, May 31st, we had no money to move. We weren't even really seriously talking about moving. Ray had set some price that we needed to actually be able to move, and I didn't even know how we were going to get that. And then I promise you, we got to Arizona on June 29th, which is our wedding anniversary, our 7-year wedding anniversary, and it was 30 days to the day that man told me that. I kid you not. And when we actually landed on the 29th, because we weren't sure what day we were going to get there, so we were in San Antonio for a while. We didn't know what day we were going to get there, but we landed on the 29th, and then I remembered him telling me that, and I was like, oh my gosh, was this 30 days? It was 30 days to the day. To the day. Okay, to the day. And then we actually landed in Phoenix, but in my dreams, I didn't actually see us living in Phoenix. But at that time, I didn't know what the surrounding areas were. So I didn't know where we were, but I knew it wasn't going to be like Phoenix proper. And then, so we stayed in hotels for a while in Phoenix, like downtown Phoenix, like Cambria, which I absolutely love. And some other places. We stayed so many places that first like 5 months of being here. And then eventually we ended up moving to Tempe. We ended up moving to a hotel in Tempe. And that hotel, was right on ASU's campus. And what did I see? Because we're in a hotel that was like right looking at the football stadium. And that's when I saw the big Sun Devil logo. And I almost passed out because I didn't even put it together, this dream and moving to Arizona. Like when I looked out the window, and it wasn't the very first day, it was like a week or two past, And one day, throughout dealing with the kids and stuff like that, I looked outside and I saw that big old sun devil thing on the stadium, and I almost passed out. So that story is still developing, because I still, I have not heard of that in Arizona yet or anything about that. I haven't even looked into the projects or anything yet. I haven't been on ASU campus yet, but I'm sure it's coming. And then I ended up having another crimson and gold dream, which is connected to some other stuff, which I'll talk about at another time. I don't think I reposted that, but it's a really intense dream that I had, and it's connected to some triggering topics. So we'll talk about that later, and then I will link it when I do it so that you can listen to that one. Yeah, that was pretty wild. So anyways, my friends, that is what I wanted to talk about today. And I hope that it brings some type of clarity. If you have heard any of these things, you're definitely welcome to comment down below or send me an email. All that information is going to be in the description box. And make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, heavy on the commenting, and the subscribing, because I do want to get to 1,000 subscribers so we can go live and talk about things and put things together, okay? All right, friends.